Come speak tonight on the topic of business and entrepreneurship. And the first thing I told him I want him to do was buy me a damn lectern. Because I needed someplace to put my cards, because unlike all those geniuses out there, I can't memorize everything. So you'll see me referring to my cards a bit tonight. But I want to ask you, in this group, who amongst you might be just a wee bit arrogant? It's okay. It's okay. Raise your hands. And the reason I ask that is because if you are somebody who is going to own your own business, or flip homes, or do something entrepreneurial and not work for a boss and punch in 9 to 5 on a daily basis, that takes a wee bit of what people tend to think of as arrogance. But I like to think of it as confidence. And the reason I say there's a difference is that if you are arrogant, what that implies is that other people are less competent, or in the way I used to put it when I was an 18-year-old and thought I knew everything, stupid. So both arrogance and confidence involve believing in your own abilities. But what I discovered is that I've spent most of my life being arrogant, and I will own that. So go back to 1980. I was 23 years old and working for a rather large, successful landscaping company called Vidash Brothers. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of them. They were in Sterling Heights, and it was actually a great job. I learned so much there. My job was not, and I said it was a large company. It was a large enough landscaping company that they owned bulldozers and tractors and backhoes and graders and all kinds of equipment. And my job was actually to purchase and keep an inventory of the parts necessary and the tools that we needed for jobs, and go out there and make sure that all that stuff was there for our mechanic who worked in the garage and had all this heavy equipment. So it was actually a great job. The problem with the job was my boss. Now, the owner of the business was a brilliant man. But every day, and this wasn't just me, so I know it wasn't me for a fact, but every day, everybody got their daily chewing out. And it wasn't a matter of, you didn't do a very good job. It was a matter of him screaming with his finger in your face and spittle flying and calling you names that I will not say in this venue, although you've heard me say them before. But I decided I really didn't want to continue being in an environment like that. In my arrogance at the age of 23, I'm looking at it and going, this man is stupid. And what I didn't get, what I was too arrogant to get, is that not only was I arrogant, but I was also competent and confident. But I didn't get that yet. So I decided to go off into my own business. Now my father, for several years, now my father was the consummate entrepreneur. He installed carpeting and tile for many years. But one of the things that he did was he owned a business where he actually did the floor cleaning for department stores. And I don't know if any of you are old enough or been here, living here long enough to remember the old W.T. Grant's department stores, but my father had the cleaning contract for all the ones in the area. And I thought what I would do, getting out of this job that I loved but hated, I thought what I would do is I would go out and open a floor cleaning business. I discovered really quickly that whenever you got a new customer, you had to do sales. Well, I had a story about doing sales. Salespeople were bad, evil, awful. They would lie to you. They would do things to you, and I didn't want to be a salesperson. But what I did discover with doing this business is as I was getting floor cleaning work, people were asking me if I would also do janitorial. Now, me at that time being an absolute well, I was going to avoid using the word, but an absolute whore for the money, whatever I could get out of the customer, I said yes. And I discovered very quickly that by by doing the janitorial work, you didn't have to do sales all the time. You were doing the sales call one time, getting the job, and they mailed you a check every month. Now, I was too young and arrogant at the time to realize that every day the work that you do is sales. Every time you show up to do the job, you justify your right to be there for another day by making sure that you do the right job for the person. So, what I found in doing the janitorial business was I actually avoided my customers. I would do the sale, get the job, let the employees go and do the work, and then I would find that the relationship was actually being built with my employees rather than it was with me. It took me a long time to get over that, but I survived like that for about 30 years. And then, about 2008, we had this huge economic downturn, as some of you may recall. And when a business is looking to cut expenses, what's the easiest thing to cut? That faceless janitorial service that nobody really knows the boss. All they know is, the person who comes in and does the actual cleaning. But if they look at a couple $1,000s a month of expenses that they can cut out, they're more than happy to do that. And now Mary, the receptionist, has to clean the toilets. Now Mary, the receptionist, isn't real happy, but that's the way a lot of times this kind of business is done. So as I was losing customers, I started looking for other streams of revenue to bring into the business. And I want to say I'm grateful. Now, customers were asking me to haul their junk away anyway. And a lot of times I was doing it for free because I wanted to keep their contracts. But I am very, very grateful to this day to the big franchise junk company that kind of paved the way for the rest of us. Even though they are my biggest competition, 800 Got Junk paved the way and made junk removal a respectable business in people's eyes. It was no longer just the guy with the rusty pickup truck who would pull up, take whatever you needed, charge you $20 and take it away. It was actually something where people expected that you would be insured, that you would be bonded, that their house is going to be safe, that you're not casing their home. So 800 Got Junk really paved the way for us. And one day, I hope to be able to charge as much as they do. But that's not yet. So what I did was I brought in a partner to the janitorial business. And by this time, after 30 years of doing it, I was tired of cleaning. You would often get a phone call at 7 o'clock in the morning. They missed a wastebasket, DEFCON 2. You wouldn't think there could be a cleaning emergency. But in the face of their customer who beats you down on price and wants everything for free and then expects perfection and demands it, it was really, really a thankless business. Well, my partner concentrated on the janitorial end of the business, and I concentrated on building up the junk removal. And I discovered that I was having a lot of fun with it, but there was still one problem with going into this new venture. I was still arrogant. And what I discovered really quickly was my partner was arrogant too. And the battle of the egos was pretty incredible. And having been tired of the janitorial business for some time, I decided, he decided, we decided that the thing to do would be to split it up. I would sell my part of the janitorial service to him, and I would take the one truck that we had at the time and the junk removal and proceed on with that. And it's a good thing that we did that, because in junk removal, I know now ways to make sure that the body is never found. So, so we split up. We went our separate ways, and we were doing some marketing. Now I was doing some marketing on the business, and wasn't having a lot of success with it. And then enter Susan, my significant other. And now Susan is not a nobody. She was, at the time, an associate creative director at Donor Advertising. And Donor is the largest privately held ad agency. I'm reading this exactly the way it's written. The largest privately held ad agency in North America. So Susan was not a schmuck. She's somebody who knew what she was doing. And examples of her work, she worked on the advertising that you still may get in the mail for Great Wolf Lodge, Chevrolet, Mazda. Susan wrote the tagline for the U.S. Army, Army Strong. How many times have you heard that? So she's quite the marketing genius. In fact, she branded Donor. Donor actually has a bloodhound brand that Susan came up with. Well, in their gratitude to Susan, she, along with about 70 other people, were laid off one Black Friday, and she decided to go out on her own business, doing marketing. Which I thought, great, okay, now we've got, our income's been reduced. What do we do? Now I've really got to push this business. And one night, about 2 o'clock in the morning, she sat bolt upright in bed. Scared the heck out of me. I said, honey, what's wrong? Nothing, go back to sleep. Okay. 6 o'clock, I wake up, she's at her computer pounding away. Honey, you okay? Yeah. Go do what you got to do. All right. And when she gets focused with work, you just get out of her way, right? So I got out of her way. I was getting ready to come home, and I called her up and I said, are you still busy? She said, yeah. I said, would you like me to pick up dinner? Okay. So I go pick up some Applebee's or something and bring it home. And I'm putting it out on the counter in the kitchen, and she points to the dining room. She says, go, sit. All right. I go sit obediently. And she starts laying out all this artwork and these graphics, some of what you see in front of you with these door hangers for Burly Guys. And she says, here is your new marketing plan. Now, Susan was inspired for this because I've always been the type of guy who's been very physically strong. She was impressed when I carried the refrigerator into the house, all that. None of that's important. But what the important part of it is that's how she came up with the concept of Burly Guys, laid off, out of work, circus muscle men from like the 1930s, and now what are we going to do for a living because we've lost our jobs? So that really created some interesting things. What happened was we were doing the same marketing, but now those pieces had the Burly Guys logo and brand, and our bookings quintupled 5 times because people pay attention to branding that catches their eye. The same marketing, and what I was getting was, instead of corporate name, we haul junk, now I've got Burly Guys Junk Removal, we haul junk, and I'm out doing jobs, and a woman jogging runs past our truck and almost falls down laughing because she sees the name and the cartoon figures on the side of the truck. I get little kids who, mommy, look, Burly Guys, and they pay attention to it. I was driving through a McDonald's parking lot one day, and I was paused, and there was a man standing at the door, and he's holding a coffee cup. I can't do it with that, but he's holding a coffee cup, and he looks and he sees my truck and he points, and I go, what? And he goes like this. So the brand gets attention. It's really important to have a brand that people know and recognize. So I've been having fun with it that way. So they say if you do something you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And I've discovered from the start that I love this business. I enjoy it. It's something every day we're doing something new, and I'm still a little arrogant. Okay, maybe more than a little. But what I've learned from that is confidence. That what I do has value, that people enjoy the brand, people enjoy interacting with me and my employees. My employees are trained to be very customer oriented. And we take a lot of pride in what we do. And every day it's something different. There's no boredom, because one day we're cleaning out an estate, the next day there's a foreclosure, the next day somebody calls us to haul away an old car, and I'll get into how we ended up doing that in a minute. But every day there's something new and different. And one of the things that I like is that, you know, some of the benefits to it is a lot of things that we haul away are not junk. We sell a lot of scrap metal. We get things, I was just sharing with some of the guys earlier. We sold actually 4 toilets this month off of Craigslist. Why? Because people said, come and demo my bathroom. And we pulled the toilet out and there was nothing wrong with it and somebody needed a toilet. Okay. So that's you know, one way that we generate some extra revenue. Now Jeremy asked me, he said, what are some of the terrible mistakes you've made? Oh boy. It's always more terrible at the moment than it is in hindsight. But things like where we walked into a customer's freshly cleaned carpet without putting booties on, that's not good. I actually have a carpet man who is, you know, kind of on retainer with me. We do a good job of making sure that we use the booties and we take care of stuff like that. Then there's the job where we were carrying an air conditioner down a flight of stairs, tripped, and there was a nice, beautiful bay window. Whoa. Was a nice, beautiful bay window. I didn't make any money on that job. Let's see what else. And then the mistakes I've made with liquidating equipment. Sometimes we've done a couple of large commercial jobs, and I allowed some things to be sold at auction that I probably should have hung on to. I didn't know at the time I was going to have a warehouse. So I allowed us to sell pallet racking, big, beautiful zero-turn mower, a truck with a plow and salt spreader on it, and I just sold it all, not even thinking about how I could have utilized that stuff in my business. Now we're in a warehouse that we sell a lot of merchandise out of, and you know, and I did get a high-low from that job, so we've got the capability of stacking things, but I've also discovered very quickly that there's no money in storing stuff. You got to turn it over and get it out and keep it moving. I was also asked how I ended up with a branch in Florida. It's very, very simple. My significant other got a phone call one day that she was inheriting her grandfather's house, which happened to be in Sarasota. Now Susan is from that area, and for almost 30 years she has wanted to return there. And this was her opportunity. And she said, okay, let's move to Florida. Great. You want to do this after I've just gotten this business going and it's turning into something really successful. I can't really do that right now, but how do we create it so that I can operate a branch there as well? And I was having to have a conversation with a friend of mine, David Abramson. David owns a company called North Coast Banners in Ann Arbor. And David has a business where he prints banners for different businesses. The interesting thing is David doesn't own any printing presses. And what he does is he finds local printers all over. Basically, he brokers the jobs. He finds local printers all over. He gets prices. He gets the things printed for people, and that's the way he operates his business. And he said to me one day, you know, John, he says, you could do the same thing. He says, you don't have to own trucks. Are you blankety blank kidding me? I don't have to own trucks? What are you talking about? And we had a great conversation about it, and I thought about it for a long time, and I found a contractor in Sarasota who is actually doing the Burly Guys work down there. Now, there's not as much work down there as there is here because in Florida people don't have basements. And most of what we do here is cleaning out basements. But the way it turns out, you know, I'm getting several jobs a week from the Florida location, and being not entirely stupid and not wanting to pass up on work that's around here, I found a contractor in Ann Arbor, so I don't have to drive to Ann Arbor. And I found a contractor in Flint, so I don't have to drive to Flint. And the next couple things I'm going to do is I'm going to find a downriver contractor and one for Lansing. And so we're constantly looking for how we can expand it and not have to be limited to how far can my 2 trucks and 4 or 5 guys go, and how much can they accomplish in a day, when I can just farm out a job to somebody, make a percentage off of it, and do it that way. And I've discovered that this is, really helping us take off in terms of profitability. I'm already doing the marketing anyway. All I have to do is click on the line that turns it on in Sarasota and click on the line that turns it on in, Now I can't meet the requirements for a franchise yet, and that is the ultimate goal, to franchise Burly Guys. However, there are a lot of legal hoops you've got to jump through, and it's very, very expensive to set up a franchise, so I'm not there yet. But this is what's coming. And right now, and the next thing now is an 800 number, so that I've got the same number in all locations. And it's very, very doable to have multiple locations like this. And let's see. What we do, and we pride ourselves on taking anything. And when I say anything, in my advertising, I write that with all capital letters. Because people call me and say, do you take? And I say yes. I don't even let them finish the question. Because one way or another, we will get what it is they want to remove. The things we take away from households, we take a lot of hot tubs, pianos, and pool tables. It's just the things that are too heavy, people don't even think about dealing with it themselves. Since we've been scrapping metal, one of the things we added into it is we now scrap automobiles. I'm doing 2 or 3 cars every week. We do factory and retail cleanouts, estate and foreclosure cleanouts. We remove sheds, decks, swimming pools. We put out extra specials when there's like a storm and there's storm debris to clean up. And we're doing some moving, transportation, and deliveries. So pretty much if something can be done with a couple of strong men in a truck, we'll do it. People often ask what becomes of the stuff we get. I've already talked about scrap metal. We sell that. But sellable items, I have deals with an auction house in Plymouth and a consignment store in Westland. They take a lot of the stuff that we get and sell it for us. I will admit to being a filthy capitalist pig and trying to make money off of the stuff that we get when it's sellable. But we donate a lot of stuff as well. Salvation Army and Habitat for Humanity are very glad when they see us coming because we bring them loads of clothing, books, small appliances, dishware, all that kind of thing, and and it all goes for a good cause. And gosh, I hope I haven't bored you all to tears, but if you have any questions, this is the time. Yes, sir.
I got a question for you, John.
Yeah.
How do you protect your brand that you've very carefully built up? How do you protect your brand when you outsource these jobs to someone in Sarasota or someone in Flint or someone in Ann Arbor? How do you ensure they're doing a quality job? And,
got it.
Helping your brand rather than hurting it.
I'm big on spies. I don't seriously. I don't farm work out to some place where I don't know somebody. So as I said, Susan is in Sarasota, so I will have her go check on a job. I'm contemplating opening up a branch in Phoenix because I have a very good friend who lives there. Ann Arbor, Flint, it's not too hard for me. I know people in both those places. So it's, you have, and the other thing that I do is I follow up with the customer. Any customer that I have farmed out to somebody, they get a phone call the day after. How was the work? Did they do a good job? Did they, one of the things I ask is, how much did they charge you? Because because we avoid the issue of what was a $200 job and the customer paid him $5. I want my full percentage. Thank you very much. But I thought what you were asking me was the protecting the brand, as in the trademark, which is in the works for being put into place. So, yeah.
When you contract the work out, do they have your marketing materials, for example? Do they have magnets that go on their truck?
No, because the contractor I use in Sarasota, he's actually a tree removal service.
Right.
So he's marketing his brand.
Yeah.
But you know, I mean, we're fully upfront about he's a subcontractor for Burly Guys, and this is how we do it. We've got a really good working relationship. His name is Ray.
It just seems, you know, it would spread your marketing.
Pardon?
It just seems it would spread your marketing that much farther. There's a way when you're
Yeah, but he's not an employee.
Yeah, I understand.
It would be, and if I had enough work to keep him busy all day long, damn straight I'd make him put my information on his vehicles. But it's the business there doesn't justify it the way it does here. Yes.
What's your geographic range? Like, how far do you go within the state and things like that?
I always like to tell people, you know those areas where people can write checks. And that's kind of a smart aleck answer, but really, you know, if the price is right, we'll do it. I've done work as far south as Toledo, as far north as, where did we just go? Davisburg the other day. We've been out to Mount Clemens. We've been up to Port Huron. It's got to make fiscal sense for both me and for the customer. You know, I mean, I don't want to charge them $1,000 for something they can get done for $300. It just doesn't make sense. But I have had customers who know me and say, "I'll pay what you need me to pay you. Get somebody out here and, you know, and take care of my stuff, and you know, then we send the truck off to Timbuktu." So, yeah. Yes, Jeremy.
So this is more of a service-based business. What's some of the marketing that's worked and not worked for you?
Worked and not worked. Well, I'll tell you what. Google used to be great. And what happened was in April of last year, Google changed their algorithms. Google was keeping me busy. What I did was I put Burly Guys on every local search directory I could find right when I got it started. And search directories are things like Manta. Oh, help me, the names of them aren't coming to me at the moment. But all these local search directories. And Google was picking it up like crazy. And everything was I was keeping 2 trucks running all day long. And considering that 800 Got Junk has got 7 trucks, I just talked to the franchise owner the other day, I thought my 2 trucks was pretty good for that period of time. In April of last year, Google actually changed the marketing, their algorithms, and my business going like this went like that. And I had to start finding a lot of other ways to market. Now we're marketing with Angie's List. We are marketing with, what else? Yodel. We're now on yp.com, which is the Yellow Pages online. A lot of things that I had ignored previously. I've got a search engine optimization guy. I use bandit signs. We use the door hangers when the weather is nice. But we're going to start getting away from the door hangers now this year because the Postal Service has a new product out called Every Door Direct Mail. And they will take a zip code, and your flyer will go to every door in that zip code for like 14 cents per door, something like that. So I'm really looking forward to trying that out in the next month or 2.
What was that called?
Every Door Direct Mail. It's a service of the U.S. Postal Service. So, and the marketing on the trucks. Just having our name, I get called several times a week from people who just say, you know what, I saw one of your trucks, and do you? And I say yes. I don't let them finish the sentence. And we get out there and get a lot of work that way. Yes?
So in a service business, how do you find that sweet spot for pricing? Because in real estate, there's a lot to go on. But if you want to know how much a house rents for, check out what all the other houses in the neighborhood are renting for. It seems like in service it might be a little bit more.
Well, there's a range, okay? Like 1-800 no. Their minimum charge is $265, okay? Then you get Joe with a pickup truck who might charge you $50, all right? Now I can't be Joe with a pickup truck, and I'm not able to be the big company yet where I can charge the big money. But typically we've got a minimum charge of $150. So, you know, you've got to do it in a way that makes sense. I have to know. I mean, I've got formulas where I know how much fuel it costs, how many hours the guys are going to be working, how many miles we're going to be putting on the trucks, a percentage of the insurance. And people who call me and say, I thought it was going to cost $50, I just, you know, go with God, my son, and, you know, and let them go, because you have to. I mean, sometimes we'll do a job for super cheap if we happen to be passing by on the way to something else. But you have to know what your costs are. I mean, I'm paying $800 a month for a small warehouse, and I've got another $400 a month in utilities. I've got to cover that every month, you know, no matter what. And I've got to cover diesel fuel at $4 a gallon, and I've got to cover $10, $12 an hour for the guys, plus labor burden and insurance and so on and so forth. So, you know, there's times when I get calls for jobs that I'll let the truck sit in the driveway before I will take it out on the road and do all that to lose money. There's no point in it. I do probably a little more cheaply than I should during the winter time, because I've got a good, faithful crew of guys working for me, and I want to keep them working. I want them around. They are my basis. I'll have to hire more guys in the springtime when it really gets nice out, but for the time being, you know, I want to keep them busy. So I've got them working on the trucks. We've got some trailers that we're going to be putting sides on and using for other things. You know, so you do your best. I mean, if you've got good people that take care of you, you have to take care of them. And so I, you know, try to find every way I can to do that. Now, one of the things you'll see in front of you is you'll see these door hangers that we've used. Again, more of Susan's beautiful artwork. And you'll notice on it says save 10%. Well, save 10% is for everybody else. For you guys, anybody from Renegade Detroit Investors, you're always 20% off. So, you know, you guys are always going to get a better deal from me. But I'm not here to sell to you. I'm here to be top of mind for you, so that when you meet somebody who has need of my services, you can say, hey, I know John, and he can take care of this for you. That's the big thing. You guys are the people out there who know all the people that are doing this kind of stuff. You know the short sales, the foreclosures, the people in a hurry to move from one house to another, the flooded basements. You guys deal with all that stuff. So, you know, my job is to help take some of that off of you and off of those other people. Yes, sir.
Can you guys pull paint and tires and, you know, the building materials and all that?
Yes. Yep. Paint, tires, turpentine. We get rid of it all. We charge a little extra for hazardous materials because we have to treat them in certain ways. One of the things people don't understand when we take a refrigerator, we don't do free haulaways of refrigerators. The reason being, it costs $35 to evacuate the refrigerant safely and legally. Same thing with air conditioners. You know, I mean, if we're doing a whole clean out on a house, then we'll take that stuff as part of what we're doing. But, you know, we have to comply with the law the same as everybody else.
You talked about flooded basements. Will you guys pull the drywall out of that flooded basement?
Would we pull the drywall out? You mean saw it off at whatever level? And oh yeah, absolutely. We do demolition all the time.
Cool.
Yeah. The one thing that I probably haven't mentioned is we are RRP certified, so I can do demo in a home built prior to 1978 that's got lead paint on the walls. It's not my favorite thing to do, but you know, it is something that we have as a service available.
It's like every house in Michigan.
Yeah, pretty much. Yes, sir.
So do you pay your employees W-2 or you do 1099 or which
Yes and yes.
employees?
I have both.
Okay, that's interesting.
It's a mix. It depends on how long they've been with me, and
So it's something your employees can earn, essentially?
yeah, exactly. When they've been with me for a while, okay, let's put you on payroll, and I'm probably supposed to have them on payroll from day one. But you know, and I know as well as anybody knows that sometimes you hire somebody and they work for a day,
Yes.
or they don't work for a day. I have fired people their first day of work, I can't tell you how many times. More so in the janitorial business than in this business. But I discovered very quickly, you know, when I hire somebody, whether they're going to work out or not. John, my newest employee, I took him to a job site, and we've got, now that our stake truck sits about this high off the ground. And we're walking around, he says, okay, what goes? And I said, well, that washing machine goes, this goes, this goes. I turn around, and I'm walking this way, and I turn back around and look, and John has taken the washing machine and thrown it up in the back of the truck. Okay, he'll do. You know. The days when I used to do that stuff myself are gone. You know. These days I hire people younger and stronger than me, and it works out really, really well. So. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.